All right, everyone. So, welcome back again to the Horeb Nation Talk Show. So, this is going to be another version, another edition of this particular show where we are going to, be talking about a lot of things today. Just as usual, last week, there was a particular discussion we had, but today is going to be another very one. We're going to be looking at couples today, the management of finances. Yeah, when I say couples, I'm not really talking about those already married. Married, I'm talking about those who are actually moving, into marriage. So, what is the step? What do they have to do when it comes to, taking care of their finances? The question was really, should they, emerge their finances, or they should keep it separate? That's the question. What should they do? That's the question we are having today. And then I'm not going to be alone. I usually say this, I'm not going to be alone. So I have different people today that are going to have, this discussion with us. They're going to give their opinions. And also those of you out there actually watching me or watching us, you should be able also to drop your comments, your ideas, whatever you feel about this particular topic. So please follow me on Instagram. If you just look at the screen, you see it. And then also on TikTok, I'm there, and on YouTube. Actually, like, subscribe so that you can watch most of these shows as they go on. So, who are the people? Who are my guests this morning? So, the first person is someone you've already seen on this show. She's always been here. She's always, available, always to talk to us. And that's Asia guest. Hi, Asia.
Hi, Horeb. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I am good. It's almost Christmas.
Right. So, what's the arrangement for Christmas?
Oh, my mom just came in town and we're just going to be eating, opening gifts, and resting. That's it.
All right, pretty cool. And then the next person, it's she's coming just for the first time too, but she's becoming part of the house. Hi, Regina. How are you doing?
Hi guys, I'm good. How are you?
We're doing good. How are you preparing for Christmas?
I think I'm still on Thanksgiving right now. I haven't even done any shopping, and I know that's so sad, but
Okay, that's good. Okay. The last but not the least is the man in the house, the second man in the house, just because I'm not a lord. Um, this is a producer that I've gotten used to. But today he's decided, to join and then share his ideas with us. Hi, David.
Hi, how you doing, Harp?
I'm doing pretty cool. How are you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be on your show finally.
Thank you so much for accepting to be here. It is really, really great.
Yeah.
So,
That's
guys, yeah, this is how it's gonna be today. We have the four of us on the show. Even I'm the host, I'm actually a guest too because Asia has decided to adopt, all of us
Uh-uh.
having her last name. So we are all
Uh-uh.
guests. We are all guests tonight. So, are we ready?
Mm.
Are we ready
yeah.
for the show?
And let's go.
Okay, if you're ready for the show, let it start. All right, guys. In 2022, there is a survey that was made by Stress in America, a survey that actually talk about couples and then families and household. It was discovered that 41% of households responded to the fact that finances became the major part of the issues or the crisis they had in their home. And then it is really believed that this doesn't only start when people are already in marriages. It even starts before you say I do. What's that? That is step, in relationships when you come together. So those crises already starts before that. So what do we do? How do we understand this? What are the steps we have to take ahead? And then if it is finances, the question has always been, for years, do couples have to merge their finances or do they have to keep it separately? And people have argued for and people have argued against. This is 2023 going to 2024, and the question is still, on. I have to tell you that everyone right here on my show are not married. So we are actually on the journey going to there. So it'll be easier for us because we understand, each other. We understand what we want. That's what we want to be talking about. So if you're ready this morning, please join us as we move on with on this show. So, guys, now let me start with let me start from Asia as usual. So Asia, when you hear about finances, in a marriage, what comes to your mind?
Um, what comes to my mind is something think of it as an institution, so structure, stability, and organized. Um, those are the things that come to mind because even as a single woman right now, like just like the other day, I went and I did monthly planning. Like you have to plan financially and make sure you're good because you got to pay your bills. So I just think of those three words that come to mind.
Okay, that's great. Let's hear from Regina too. How do you feel about when you have finances in a marriage?
If I'm being funny, no. But your money is my money, but my money is my money too. No, I'm just playing. So basically, I just think, and I was watching this video, and I don't know if you want to put that up now or say that now or whatever, but um, I was watching this video by this lady, and she was talking about building wealth, and one of the things was about how you structure your money, like Asia was saying, and I've been using that, and since I've been using that, it's just I feel like I don't never not have money, if that makes sense, because I know where all my money is going. Before structure, I was like money is just flying. As soon as it come in, it's gone, you know? But
Yes.
yeah, so
Okay. So David, I'm asking you the same question. What do you feel?
Well, I think you're right. Money is like the greatest predictor of money problems. Having money problems actually in marriage is the greatest predictor of divorce. And so I feel like it's a topic that's not talked about a lot, especially prior to the marriage. And there are a lot of assumptions that go into how they think they would handle money as against how they actually handle the money, because it's not only uh, an issue of quantity, it's an issue of behavior towards the money that you guys have to spend and live with, right? So it's very important.
That's very important. Now the question is, when couples are getting to the marriage, here let's actually make it clear to the extent that there are people who actually want to be in recently one of my topics I was talking about the traditional man, a traditional woman, and people feel like a traditional man is the one that has to protect, is the one that has to provide. So a traditional woman is the one that doesn't need to work, so she just have to be at home and then take care of kids and never work. And I think if we are going into this perspective, then we shouldn't be talking about finance management, because at this level the man is the one working, so everything is directed, so he is the one. But Shelter said the other time he wants to apply what he call remix of traditional, which means everyone should participate. And so when it comes to everyone participating, then there is a question of who spend most of the money, who spend money for this, or how do we spend the money, and that's where the question comes out. And then people are asking, should we merge, or each person should keep, their finances separately. So um I'm going to be having opinion from each of you, when it comes to this. Let me go back to the last person. That's David. Let's start from David and then go to Asia.
All right, yeah, that's a very important question in the light of tradition. I may take a different route in approaching this. Of course, there are things that I believe in, and as well as science that speaks to a lot of things, right? And so, first off, I want to lay down a few things. A
Okay.
recent study from the Indiana University did say that couples who merge their finances have been seen to have more happy marriages or happier marriages than couples who do not. So that's something that speaks to science. And then when it comes to my belief as well, a quote from scripture would say that where your treasure is, that's where your heart will also be, right? And so
Exactly.
if you are not merging, that means that you are keeping some level of independence and your heart would be towards that. And so to me, while not going into much detail because there's a lot of conversations that will go on, I would say that couples should merge finances depending on their level of emotional maturity and financial goals.
Couples should merge, that's what David feels. Uh Regina, what do you think about it? Should we merge or we should be separate?
So for me, it's kind of 50-50 kind of thing.
50-50, okay.
Not 50-50 as in, I think we should merge, but I also think that we should also have our own money, if that makes sense. But so on, you can go ahead and put that thing up. So on the video that I was watching by Lynn Richardson, she said that just like a single person, like my money, 10% of my paycheck goes to tithes, 10% to savings, 30% I keep in cash, and 50% to bills, right? Now, if I was in a relationship with somebody and we were heading towards marriage, or after we, newlyweds or whatever, and we decided to merge accounts, I feel like that 50% should be in the merge account. So that way we'll take care, if we're living together, we take care of the house, we take care of the bills, we take care of the kids out of that 50%. Now, I also think we should keep that 30% to ourselves in our own account, because let's just say for Christmas, right? And I wanted to buy my significant other a gift for Christmas. If I get it out of that joint account, you're really paying for your own gift, So does it really mean much? You know what I'm saying? So, but like if the 30% that I have on my own that I keep, I can go if I want to. I can, spend it how I want. Like nails or maintenance or whatever, something that comes up that I need money right then and there. You understand what I'm saying? So that's not something that has to be like discussed. Hey, we need to take this out of our money that we set aside to take care of our house, our family, our bills, to do something crazy, if that makes sense.
So you feel, now let's say if you summarize all these, you feel that yes, we could have it separate, or and then it could be separate, but we could have something doing together at the same time. So that's what it should be, right?
Yeah, that's how I think. Yeah.
Okay, good. So Aisha.
Yes. So, I mean, I agree with Regina, but the only stipulation to mine would be that I would allow full transparency for my significant other to still not necessarily have access, but like access to that money or whatever. Like it's still something, just like if I was an author and I had book sales, a
Mm-hmm.
portion of that, would come to me. But still, like if something were to go awry, and let's just say at a car accident or something, and something funky is going on, I would still make it available to where my significant other could have access to it.
Okay, so I think in the general today people feel yes. One thing is we can merge, and then at the same time, so they feel like okay, have your separate accounts and then build one joint account together. So I think that's what we are all saying. But the question is, why do we all have why are there always challenges when it comes to money? Like, why do we need to be facing challenges when it comes to money? So is it not easier for us to just think about, okay, this is how we just want it to go? Why do you think couples always face challenges when it comes to money, spending money? Yeah, anyone can actually answer this one.
I mean, because you could have somebody like, okay, I'm gonna give you an example. My previous relationship, um, my person ran a tight ship and still does when it comes to financing. Me, I used to have the mindset of treat yourself. So if you having a bad day, I don't care. Like go do something for yourself. But that can get you into a lot of trouble. So I think that it just comes down to the couple and the dynamic that they have. Like you can have one person who's good with money, then one person who's not, and then that can cause issues. It didn't cause any problems for me because I'm receptive to advice or whatever, but for other folks that may be an issue.
I
Okay.
think that.
Yes, go ahead.
I think another thing is trust. As far as your partner goes, I know you love this person and this and that, but at the same time, when you think about it, 2023 and everything that goes on in the world, people will run off with your money. I don't care how much you love them or whatever. how much they say they love you, you have to be able to trust that person. If something was to happen, um, and then all of a sudden you look and all your money is going out of your account, I think that trust is the thing that keeps people from that makes money a big issue, because people are selfish and they are greedy too at the same time. And you just have to find that person that you're willing to trust to, share finances with.
Okay, David.
Yeah, I mean, those are very good points. I think that to a good extent, you'd want to marry somebody that you trust, right? And so sometimes I get confused as to why people have those reservations about other people. I mean, there's somebody that you're going to spend the next 50 years with. And so you want to think that you guys have developed some level of trust before you go into this bond, right? And if you haven't, then you probably need to take a step back to reevaluate what you guys are doing. But indeed, if you have, then I see nothing specifically wrong with actually merging your accounts. Of course, it takes a lot of compromise. It takes a lot of bending your will to come to that point. But as I said previously, or as I highlighted previously, when it comes to couples, if you are working towards a particular goal, so that you're not only working towards paying off bills or having physical intimacy. When you come into a marriage, everything that you are doing should be geared towards maximizing the welfare of that system that you are creating. That includes finances. And so if both of you are not working towards financial freedom, financial independence, for instance, and you decide that you want to do separate things with your money, then that may not really be beneficial. I mean, there's also evidence based that couples with joint accounts, and I want to differentiate joint accounts from hybrids, which is what the ladies here have presented. Hybrid is having a joint account for maybe bills and stuff, and then have your own accounts. That is hybrid. That's very different from joint accounts. Joint accounts means that you're merging everything from paycheck accounts to investment accounts, right? And I am advocating for a joint account because it's easier and giving the evidence to attain some level of generational wealth. For instance, most personal finance couples that I follow have joint accounts, and most of them are millionaires because when you have joint accounts, there's that unified and shared goals that you're working towards, not one person using the money for another thing. And not to discredit what Asia said as well concerning the financial behavior, but you come into marriage not because you want to be independent. You come into marriage because you want to be interdependent. And so you are coming to have that level of balance. If you're a spender, you meet a saver, for instance, the saver will be maybe exceedingly frugal. He comes to learn how to spend on himself a little bit or herself a little bit. And then the spender also comes to learn how to save a little bit. So there's that balance that comes with having a joint account. There's accountability that comes with having a joint account. And generally, it's like you guys working a business together as one towards a particular goal.
Okay, that's a very deep from. Let me say this is from an economics or probably perspective,
That's what I was thinking. Like, this is we're in economics class.
because
Right.
you took us to the academic world and
Oh
then brought
no,
us back.
no, this has nothing to do with economics at all. In fact, yeah, this is
Okay,
just
now
personal finance.
it is usually believed that the taste of a partner, probably one of the partners, actually brings this issue. Let's say, for instance, that we're putting money together, but one person always wants to buy expensive things, and then the other person doesn't. Now, when it comes to those factors, like, how do you deal with that? Now you have the money, okay, probably um you have a joint account together where you put in money. Okay, even if you fix that, okay, this is what you want to be paying it, you want we want to use the money for. There is always one person that wants something that the other person doesn't want. How do we deal with that?
It's called compromise. If you're in
Yeah.
a relationship, and we're working toward marriage or engaged or whatever, we communicate. It may not be like 100% if like, but it's called compromise and communicating with each other. Like, okay, maybe we can both agree on something that's like a fraction of the price, but it's the same thing. Or maybe we can agree that, okay, once we reach this goal, you can get it. Like, it's about
Mhm.
a lot more than just that. Like, because if you're together, it's a partnership, it's a business, it's not me versus you. So
Right.
that's how I feel about that.
Yeah. I
Regina,
think,
what?
yeah,
Yeah,
there are
David, go
many.
ahead.
Oh, should Regina?
No, no, David, go ahead. After that, she will.
Yeah, I think there are many different strategies. I've seen some couples who have joint accounts and they give themselves allowances. You take it out for something like gifts and that you don't want the other to find out. And so
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to thorough discussions about money, which people usually avoid, right? And it doesn't have to be that serious. I've seen certain couples who have weekly, what they call finance dates
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the week. And this is very chill. They discuss what they want to do, where they want to get, and how they want to treat themselves. Right. And so it shouldn't be like something holding your neck or anything of that sort. It should be sweet. It should be smooth. And if you have the same mindset towards building that empire that you had envisioned, it should be fine in theory.
Okay. Yeah, in theory.
Yeah.
Okay,
Theory.
guys, so we are going to go for a break and then we'll be back. But then, those of you, watching, please, we want your comment too. What do you think? Just drop your comment and then we'll share it with other people viewing this. We'll take a short break and then after that, we'll come back and then read. I had yesterday, someone sent me a voice note. It was just an answer. So we'll play it and then let others listen to it. And you tell me what you think about that. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Arab Nation Talk Show. So today we're talking about couples and management of finances. What do they have to do? Should they match their finances or they should keep it separate? The conversations that have actually been going for the two sides. So either people want them to actually have their separate account and then probably together they should also have something that in which they put. I have a friend of mine that explained to me last time how he was doing this in his own family, in his own with his wife. I think they have their money and they have their account separately, and then they created a joint account in which at the end of the month they decide what they want to put in. So that's what they've actually been doing, and that's the choice. When I posted this, I had someone who actually expressed herself, her view, what she thinks. So I'm going to play it and then we'll listen to her voice. I don't need to mention the person's name. It's just like one of the viewers. So we will listen to her and let's see what she said.
So what I was trying to say is that, yeah, of course, I mean, everybody always know what is ideal, or I guess I should say most people know what is ideal, right? But in practical terms, that's when you kind of apply, things case by case or situation by situation. So basically, my point is, I think it just depends on the people or the couple that are getting married. Now, some people, have many good qualities, but when it comes to finances, they're just not good with it, right? They mismanage funds or they just don't know how to be prudent, right, when it comes to money. Now, such a person um, can be good in all, every other aspect. And, the spouse someone might just decide to marry somebody like that. So in that situation, they might not be comfortable, putting posts together. I mean, maybe all their money. So again, I think, yeah, it's a situation where, and it's been long for a debate for a very long time, right? It's really one of the big issues, right, when it comes to marriage. And I really don't think it's one size fit for all, meaning, oh yeah, couples should put money together. Again, it's the ideal, but I really think it's case by case, So whatever works for people, I think should be what they should go by as far as finances is concerned. So that's what I was trying to say. Like, when when I saw the post, I'm like, okay, are you saying an ideal situation? Yeah, we all know what is ideal. It's better to, function as a unit. It's better to keep all the sources and the funds together. But in reality, in practicality, for a lot of people, that's not the case. So you deal with people the way they are. Some people are reckless with money. They are reckless with funds, right? So do you want to commit your money to someone like that? So anyway, it just really varies, right? So I think this kind of situation is more practical, should be dealt with in a more practical way than in the ideal. That's just my take, anyways.
Okay, that was just thick. So she thinks this should be looking into, from a more practical perspective. You know, what do you guys think? And also, I think before let's look at the comments. I have some other comments, and before we go, this is Savior. Savior say ideally it is whatever works for you. So it is whatever works for you. That's what Savior think. He wants on to say, I hate it when married people try to live by societal rules and standards and ignore that what works for them.
Mhm.
So I think this actually goes together with the viewer whose voice we just listening now. So it depends on each. It depends on each couples. That's what we're getting at. What do you all think, David? Let me start from you. What do you think of the comments?
Yeah, I mean, she's right with saying that that is ideal. The joint is ideal in terms of the effectiveness and the benefits that accrue to the couple, but you do not neglect also the long-standing background and behavioral patterns of the person. And so before you even go into marriage, some of these things you should try to know them. Like
Mhm.
you should have discussions. That's why there should be premarital counseling. You should have discussions to the degree to which you know this person's spending patterns, this person's debt, this person's, attitude towards financial freedom. And that would even help you have a good system in place before you go into it, so that while you are not truly at the ideal place you want to be, you are working towards it. But I'll still stand with what is, because to me, it's not about self-interest, it's about the interest of the family and maximization of the welfare of the family. And if this is what works, we'll go for it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that because weaknesses would exist in I am, extravagant and I spend anyhow, I should just continue with that in my marriage. Right? There's
Hmm.
a piece of growth that we have to come to where we are able to, rub off each other towards our goals. And so I agree with her. That's why I said that all of these are in theory. Of course, I'm not also married. That's one thing. So, uh, yes, in practical terms, you can
Okay.
start from somewhere, but work towards the ideal.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Asia? About what Savior said and about what the other listener said. They said Savior said they hate it when married people try to live by societal rules. So they should define what works for them.
Mhm. I agree because, like, again, like I used my example. I had to learn a few things, but there might be some women who are better at financial management. So you have to find what works best for you and your person. And I kind of agree. Like, we had these things called family planning sessions where we would talk about finances. We would talk about what's upcoming, like, what are we going to have to pay for? Okay, can I help you with that bill? Okay, like this, that. You have to find what best works for you and your person. Like, no one model fits because we're all different and we all have different patterns when it comes to spending money. So, therefore, that's how I feel.
Yes, Virginia, what do you think?
I agree with the person who was talking on the voice
Yeah,
note. I
yes.
agree with her, about it does depend on what works for them. And I think that people should have those conversations, like David was saying about the financial dates. I think that's smart. I've never heard of that in my life because I feel like people try to avoid talking about money, politics, and religion because those are like the hardest conversations to have. But I agree with David. I feel like that's a good way to be transparent about everything as far as finances go. Transparency is very important, um, especially if you guys are, if there is going to be joint accounts, right? I think that's very, very important to be transparent, to be open, to be honest about the goals, about what's coming in, what's going out. Um, I did have a question, and this might not be the time to ask it, but um, so we're talking about finances and marriage and stuff, but I feel like one thing that we're missing is what if somebody say I make way more money, like I'm an artist or I'm something, and I make crazy amounts of money, and the person who I'm marrying doesn't. It brings up the question of prenup. Now, is that prenup? Is that me being selfish, or is that like, are we still doing joint accounts? I feel like that's something that also maybe, what are y'all opinions on?
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I actually thought of the question of prenup, but looking at it, the concept in which prenup is mostly signed because of marriage and how do I say, when relationships break, marriage breaks, what happens after? That's actually what prenup usually stand for. The concept in which we are now is that you have your account, I have my account, then we built one joint account in which at the end of the month we decide that this is what we are going to put into that very account, and that solves the problems we have at home. These are the bills we want to pay with this. So it's not like we just have a joint account completely and all the money just goes into, or whatever money you earn, you put in. I think that's what people are going against. But prenup, that's a topic we need to look into. It might be subsequent videos. We'll be talking about prenup because it is what people are looking into now. At the end of marriage, people feel today that you get married because you want to gain something. It's not because you love someone. You look at them, oh, I think she has money. Okay, I can go with that. So that at the end, probably after 3 years, I want to break up so that I can get part of her money. So, and people feel because of that, they don't want that to happen. So let's sign a prenup. So we'll be looking at that. But my question here, on what we are discussing, in all this, one thing was coming up. Okay, one thing was coming up, which was being reckless. So I want to ask, between men and women, who who are financially reckless more than the other? Is it men that spend money recklessly or women?
I don't think it has a gender.
You don't think?
No,
Okay.
because you can have a woman that shops a lot, and you can also have a gamer dude who spends all his money on games, or you can, or you can have somebody
David, do you
who
feel
has
attacked?
a gambling addiction, and that's typically found in males. Like, spending money or being reckless with financing, um, it has no gender. Yeah, no.
It has no gender. Do you believe, David? Because people feel like women shop a lot, like they
Well,
spend more than.
I
Uh-uh.
also think that I don't know about this generation per se, but growing up, I have been exposed to the idea that women are usually more responsible with their money
Okay.
than men. So it's like, oh, let the woman manage the money and she'll be able to, she's more like an incubator give her something, she's able to multiply it, right? And so
Yeah.
that has been the running idea that I've had in my mind. Or obviously, it's not evidence based, but it's just an observation. But yeah, I mean, I also agree with Asia because I've also
So that's possible that if you get married, you can actually open a joint account and then, or probably you open an account you give to the woman to control.
yeah, you can actually open a joint account, and I think Regina said something about, or was it Asia? One of them said something about how there may be someone who will be more knowledgeable when it comes to multiplication of
Okay.
your joint money, and you should put your ego aside to allow for that to happen, right?
Exactly. That's the question I want to ask. Do you think men's ego will allow them to do that?
Yeah, so that's one problem, and this is me. I sit here as a man, and I'm saying that if the person is financially sound, probably has done some work or some has an educational background that certifies them as being able to actually make good investments for your future, I think that you should take your ego, put it in the trash, and allow for that thing to flow, right? But of course, sometimes ego will come in the way. And my running mantra is that you do whatever you can to maximize your welfare. It doesn't have to be your opinion that is right. It has to be the opinion that maximizes welfare for the family.
Yeah, Regina, do you have anything to say about this? Who is reckless? No, more, let me more reckless when it comes to spending money, men or
I
women?
think, well, I think, like Asia said, it has no gender. I think both are equally reckless at times. I do feel like women will be more reckless with small amounts of money, like here, 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 here. But men go and make like big purchases, like, oh yeah, I want this motorcycle, I want this car, you know. So like all the money goes at one time. But women are more like, let me get this purse, this purse, this purse, this purse, these shoes, you know. But even still, it's still reckless. So I think both are.
You think both are?
Yeah. It just depends on the situation, you know.
It depends on the situation. Okay,
What'd you
okay.
say, Asia?
I was saying, Hora, what do you think?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Well, basically, I would say it could be any, like what the other the voice note we heard said. It depends. It's practical. It depends on each couple. It depends on who you are with. So you just need to study. We have men. It's not just about gambling. When it comes to men, it's not about gambling. Most men that I know, probably myself, I would say, to be clear, like you love giving to the extent that you're not even thinking about yourself. You don't think about your home, and then you want to give out to just bless everyone, and at the end of the day, you discover that you don't even have again. So I know women don't like that thing. If you have a man that is doing that, they stand against. They find a way. Hey, guy, you need to think about the home. You need to think about what is happening there before you do that. So it's not just about gambling. So that's one. So if you look at your home, definitely it could be the man or the woman. So, but I haven't gotten a statistic, that generally said, or it is men that spend more money or women that spend more money. But if you've ever tried to go shopping with a woman, maybe you will understand better. Yeah. Yes. If you have ever gone shopping with a woman, you understand better that they buy things that they don't even write. It's not on their list. So,
Well, do they have a list? Is where to start from?
yeah,
Right.
I'm saying they actually go there with the list, but they end up putting the list aside. You know,
But a
if I'm
happy wife
no,
makes a happy home.
if I'm lying,
A happy wife makes a happy home. So you want her to buy all that stuff extra to keep her satisfied?
oh, so when she does that, it means she's happy.
Duh.
No, you're not sure.
Yeah. We should
I
probably,
said duh, like yeah.
Oh yeah, David is saying,
yeah, I think we should probably think about a quote as well concerning husbands, right? A sad husband makes what in the house, right? But yeah, this
You
is
gonna
something.
finish that? You gonna finish that sentence?
Yeah, I was allowing the ladies to try to speak to that, but
Anyway.
That's not something I can answer. I'm
okay, I see.
Yeah,
Good talk.
you got the wrong words.
I'm waiting for women to say something about that.
No,
What David said.
nothing. Moving on.
They plead the
No.
fifth on this one.
Moving on.
How can we just move on?
Next topic.
Oh, okay. So
That's
it
deep.
just, it's just like you choosing to read the part of Bible that suits you, and then you leave the other side. Is that what we are trying to do?
No.
No, that's what you guys. That's what you,
Have
the two
No,
of
we
you,
are not. No.
Asia and
See, it's
Regina.
easier for us to answer happy wife, happy life because
Right.
we're
You did a
women.
sad
The
husband, like,
men have
No.
yeah, you know.
Oh,
Moving on.
Y'all got to come up with that on yourself, on your own.
David. David, so you have to finish.
Yeah, I think when I get to that bridge, I'll cross it. When I become, the point in time when I become a husband and I'm sad, I'll be able to write more.
Okay, so sometimes you need the experience to actually get the answer, right?
Yeah.
It's called
Oh.
on-the-job training.
Well, David, someone is asking. I want to know. Is that husband makes what?
Yeah, it's actually, that's my question right there. I see that it's a very prominent question. That
So actually, I was expecting women to, to tell us, what do you think when a man is sad in the house, what is it going to be like? So, so I don't know. This is beyond.
Yeah.
This is beyond everyone right now in this house.
Very beyond my scope of relevance.
Even
Right?
David that brought about the theory is not ready, so it's still waiting to make some studies to actually define, what this looks like.
Some statistics,
Okay, yeah. So guys, I think we are having like less minute. We have like 15 minutes more to go. We'll go on a break, and then when we come back, let's look at the solutions together to this, challenge at our own level. What we think should be solutions, to the money challenges we have home. What do we propose? We'll be looking at that when we come back. All right, guys, welcome back to the Horeb Nation Talk Show. We've been here, talking about couples and management of finances. It's been a blocked road. You just heard, we're just talking about women saying happy women actually make happy home, but we don't know what a sad husband, does, or probably a happy husband at home. So here we were blocked, and then we were actually waiting for you guys out there to see if you can actually join us, and tell us what you feel about this. The question being physically what there is a lot going on, but now we want to look at what are the probably solutions. What are we proposing? What are the tips when it comes to money and relationship, so that we can avoid, aside from opening, probably having a joint account. What else can we do? What else can we, what are other steps that we can do? Yeah, from my panelists, what do you think we can do? What are the solutions you propose?
Well, Harry, you want to talk first?
Oh, you want me to talk first?
Yeah,
Yes.
you haven't been answering.
Yeah, definitely, because that's my job. My job is to ask the questions, and that's what basically I'm doing. Okay, I went through some studies, and then there was this blogger. I mean, she's into relationship discussions. Her name is Rachel Cruz, and then she proposed 7 tips, when it comes to money and relationship, marriages. So the first one she proposes that we should keep a joint account. That's the first thing. Now, the context of a joint account here, I keep asking, no, joint account, is it a total joint account, for me, like I said earlier, it shouldn't be a total joint account. You have your personal account, I have my personal account. Then we create one joint account in which, you know, we make deposit. But the fear is always, what if someone's at the end of the month refuses, to make deposit? What happens? So because there are a lot of things that fall into this, from my own perspective. If we have a joint account, usually a joint account requires probably the two members usually to appear. I remember when we were in Nigeria, when you belong to an association that has a joint account, probably three or four people will need to appear before they can okay, a hybrid account. Okay, thank you, David, for that. Before they can actually have access to the money. Now, let's assume that you have an emergency and the husband is not there. So do you have to wait till when he comes before you answer that? My mom calls me, he needs money, or my brother calls me, he needs money, and I have to call my wife. If at that moment there's no network, it's probably at that moment she couldn't have access to her phone. If it was an emergency, we cannot have access to the money. So if I need personal things to solve on my own, I think I should have my account with which I do that. Now she will also have, the same freedom to do that, because she has family, she has friends, she has people she's been with before she met you. It's not that immediately you become husband and wife. Yeah, she just have to drop every other person she has known in her life. I mean, in the context of family or probably friends in some way. So you need to have your personal account, and then we have general one in which you put money together. And the second one is that we have to discuss our lifestyle choices. Because if you find yourself in a relationship with someone that has a lifestyle that you cannot actually answer, he spent money recklessly. He loves buying Gucci and Fashashi when you only work you teach in a primary school, or probably you are just working in Walmart. Your salary doesn't go with his taste or her taste. So if you're not careful with those things, it is the reason why, the dating process, you need to understand who you are dealing with, what the person likes, and then you say that, oh, okay, now I think this is not going to work with my salary, the one I have right now. But some people feel sometimes that when you have a woman, from a man perspective, when you have a woman that loves to spend money, it pushes you as a man to go out there and look for more money. Can that be true? I don't believe in it somehow. That when she spends money a lot, she likes expensive things. So it is forcing you as a man. But I want David to say something about this before I
Well,
move on. No, what do you think about this?
uh, about what specifically? Is it about the solutions, or is there a particular question in there you want me to answer?
The question is, people think that when your woman, likes expensive things, it is a prerequisite for you as a man to work more, to think more, to look for ways more to make money so that she can, spend that money on expensive things.
Yeah, I think that's a gross generalization from the pulpit of misknowledge. I do not agree with that, because then it's almost seeming as if your main motivation is to allow your spouse, in other words, your spouse is just controlling how you are making money and how you are spending money. I think it should not be that case at all. It should be like there should be a plan. There should be a plan that motivates what you guys are doing, basically, not the spending habits of your spouse.
Hmm. Okay, women in the house, what do you all think?
I think that that if a man has to go and make more money for the woman to spend the money, then she's only with him for the money, and he feels like he has to keep money in order to keep her, and then that's not going to work out at all.
Right. I agree. You should want to be with somebody who's working towards the same goals as you.
When
And
Asia said I agree, the way her voice sounded, I thought this is not agreement.
Asia knows her
okay,
stuff.
Aura.
Okay.
Okay, Aura. No, but I do agree because like there are women out there who do prey on men for their money, but there are women like me. I'm a work hard. Like me, I now have 3 jobs just so I can make sure that I can maintain a certain lifestyle that I'm accustomed to.
Okay, Roland Boulambo. Okay, this is a friend I knew so many years ago. We worked together with the French media that we call RFI, Radio France International. He's in Congo. Okay, thank you so much for following. Thank you. Um, so, so you all agree? You agree with what Regina said, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to the ideas we're giving. So we said earlier the second one was that you have to discuss your lifestyle choices, together. It's really necessary. So when you have an idea of what the partner you have an idea of the kind of lifestyle he has, how he or she spends money, it will be easier for you to decide if you want to be with that person. Looking at your source of income, how much you're making. So that's very, very important. In Africa, I've heard several times, women say, my money is my money, but your money is our money. You know, women usually say that when I have my money, it's my money. I keep it on my own. But your money, it belongs to us. It belongs to the home. It belongs to the family. And we decide on what happens, to that money. So I'm coming. So let's go to the next one. The next one is that you have to recognize your difference in personality. What kind of personality? Who is the person? You need to understand, the personality. And then don't let your salary differences come between you, exactly like what Regina was reading earlier. What if someone is earning very high salary? We have today women working and earning better money than men, which is pretty good. There's nothing wrong about that. But when it comes to that, what happens? Are we going to put money into the account based on some percentage, based on what you are earning, or it is simply a kind of a matter of choice, whatever you want? Like if I'm earning $50,000 a year, and then you earning $120,000. So are we just going to decide at the end of the month each person is going to put in a $500, like let me say monthly, or is it going to be according to what you earn? So those are questions that need, you don't allow the differences in your salary to actually, come in. So you need to look at that. Keep purchases out in the open. Keep purchases out in the open. Let the other person know what you are buying with the money you put together. So that's what it means. Let the other person know this is what we are going to buy, this is what we are going to use the money for. And then expectations should be set together. It's not a man just deciding this is what I want, and then it should be the couple doing it. And do not let your kids run the show. If you have kids, they shouldn't be the one deciding what happens. It is unfortunate today. I'm not married, but I've heard a lot. We see around that people allow kids in the family run the show, especially in situations where we have if my kids approve you, then. And so many people don't want to hear that. Women don't want to hear, men don't want to hear it. They feel like it should be you and me. And normally the structure should be the man is there and the woman come. You are together before kids come in. And then when you grow up together, if things work fine and you stay together, kids are going to grow up and get married and leave the home. And then it's still going to remain the two of you together when the kids leave. So why do you allow them to run the show? So they shouldn't be the one running the show. So those 7 tips for me are really, really important. And I feel if everyone put them into practice, it's really going to help. Now, I have talked, David.
Yep. Right back to me. I think that there's a starting point, and given that we are all not married yet, I'll speak from that standpoint. So I'll definitely also speak about things that are equally applicable in marriage. But when the relationship gets serious, one of the major things you should begin to discuss and lay on the table is your finances, right? And so you talk about it, and it cuts across from your spending habits, your debt, the investments, your financial goals. What do you want? Do you want to be a millionaire? What are you working towards? Are you working towards buying a house? Are you just working towards spending on something, right? And so that's where the conversation should start from and continue, right? some people would think that is a one-off process. You're like, whew, we finally talked about this and we are done. But it's a continual process because eventually you guys, I see it as a merger, right? The marriage where you guys become one. And so I do not believe that, well, yeah, of course, you have your own life, you have your own background, you have your own patterns that have followed you throughout the years. But the point of marriage is not just to come and continue having that level of independence and autonomy. It's about interdependence and it's about relying on each other towards a particular vision. And so there was a quote that I wanted to read out that says I think it says something powerful about our hearts, that we are much more willing to be physically intimate than we are financially intimate. What does this mean? It means that you enter into marriage willing to give away your most personal and sacred item, which is your body, but unwilling to share what accrues to you when you put your body to work, which is your salary, right? And so it becomes counterintuitive to me. And so, as I'm saying, not only because from a biblical standpoint it speaks to that, but evidence-based, if you're working towards a goal which is maybe financial independence, what has worked for most people is a complete joint account, right? Number one, it forces trust. And that's one of the problems that should be addressed, because if you are not really sharing your money based on the fact that you want that autonomy and independence, then there's a fundamental issue that goes beyond, well, it's my money. It's because you're thinking about me versus you as against we, right? And the example that Horeb made is very important, that if there's an emergency, all of those things are important. If there's an emergency, if you want to give a gift, discussions can generally solve these things, right? And so you will not only have a joint investment account or bills account, you can have a joint emergency account where that you can tap into it. You don't also need to have both sign joint accounts where it requires two people to be there before money comes out. You can have a single person, because of course, if we are both on the account, I'm gonna see if you take money out of this, right? And then it's gonna come up in our discussions. Other couples also have a threshold, you can spend you can spend in the you can spend in from the account up onto a particular max, where maybe you will require to talk about it. And so some people keep the cap at $1,000. If you are spending beyond that, then we have to have a discussion about that. And so there are many strategies to make this work, but in order to come off as a unit working towards a particular goal, to
Okay.
me, start from talking about finances prior to marriage and continue the conversation as whatever works for you guys, whether on the weekly or on a monthly basis. Unified budgeting, budget together. This month, what do you want to do? How much do you want to allocate to go on a vacation? What do you want to do? We should not have a sense of independence in marriage. Then be single, truly. If you want that independence, be single. Marriage is
Okay.
about both of you. That's my point.
Okay. Now that's the main thing. We don't have much time, but I don't just want you girls to go without saying, please, even if it's a minute, let's probably take 2 minutes of their time. Um, let me go to Regina. What final things do you have to say, to people out there?
Um, Main thing that I have left to say is really, like we said, it depends on you and your partner. Y'all need to be open, transparent, honest, and need to have the tough conversations, because finances are a tough conversation. And then also open to adjustment or compromise on whichever type of personality that you are. And that's most likely going to be the best way for you to move forward because, like you said, finances can be the end of a marriage before it even gets started.
Thank you so much. And then Asia.
For me, I'm gonna say my only tip and my last thing to say is have your family planning sessions with that's taking time out of both your calendars, writing down, talking about finances, and again, having those hard conversations.
Okay, that's beautiful. So, guys, I really want to thank you for accepting to be on this show, and all your contributions. It's been like a very beautiful 1 hour that we spent together. And I'm sure that people out there have actually learned a lot from you. And I want to say thank you so much for participating. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having us.
All right, so guys, we are at the end of the show. I mean, we didn't have much time to talk about everything. I really want to appreciate those who took their times, to tune and share. Those who actually participate. Savior, thank you so much for your comment. I also appreciate Olivia that asked questions, and then my friend Roland Bulambo, and also the voice notes. The person that sent message actually to Regina too. Thank you so much. Thank you, every one of you, for participating. We'll see you, next week, and it's going to be, a different, part of the show. We'll be talking about some, new things as the time goes on. Thank you, and bye bye.